Well, this is Steve Ridgel, and this morning, and this is Remy, by the way. So this morning, I thought I'd talk a little bit about, well, you're going to be tempted today. Today, you're going to wrestle with some kind of sin. You're going to find something you ought to do, and you're not going to want to do it. And you're going to find something you ought not to do, and you're going to want to do it. And sometimes when we get tempted like that, sometimes we give in. Sometimes we do what we shouldn't do, and we don't do what we should do. That happens. So what do you do when you find yourself sinning? What do you do when you messed up? What do you do when you didn't do or you did and you shouldn't have or you should have? Well, I was reading in our daily reading, my wife and I this morning were reading Hebrews 4, and it talks about being thankful that we have a high priest, Jesus, in heaven, who's been tempted just like we are, yet didn't sin. I think you ought to take a great deal of comfort in that, and here's why. When you have that thing you ought to do and you just don't want to do it, or you don't do it and then you realize you should have and you're sorry about it and you missed that opportunity, and Jesus understands because he was tempted like that. And when you have that thing you know you shouldn't do and you're wrestling with it, and then you give in and you do it. And then you regret it and you're sorry about it and it's aggravating to you, and you need to know that Jesus understands that. I take great comfort in the fact that Jesus doesn't sit there looking down and going, "What is the matter with you?" He knows. He knows what it is to wrestle with the temptation. So when we mess up, that gives us confidence to come to the throne of grace and mercy. Boy, that's when you've messed up and you want to say, "God, I'm sorry. I should have done that and I regret, and please give me another chance at that." Or, "God, I know I shouldn't have done that and I'm sorry and I'm going to do better and help me do better." The great confidence in that is that Jesus is up there saying, "Father, I know what it was. I know how he felt. I know how she felt. I know why that I got it." Now, he didn't sin, which also makes him pretty much the perfect person to argue for us, because God listens to him because he's not a sinner. He's his son. And I have some comfort in that when I've messed up and I need to ask God's forgiveness, I've got an advocate, I've got a Savior, I've got a high priest who understands what I went through. Doesn't agree with my decision, by the way. Wishes I hadn't, or wishes I had, whichever it was I needed to do or not do, but understands. And that's where grace and mercy and forgiveness come, from the knowledge that there is someone who knows us, understands what we're going through, and advocates for our forgiveness. And somehow that makes me want to do better and helps me to do better. Well, this is Steve Ridgel, and I don't know where Remy went, but saying, be thankful for our advocate.